Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So I'm back home. I was out of town for a little bit for work, so now I'm back and I have a recent acquisition that we're going to be working on now. This will be a new project. This is mine though, not for anyone else. But it's the same cartridge that I've worked on quite a bit on the channel. I actually posted a picture of this on the community tab of my channel and had a few guys guess the cartridge. It is the 30-06, which if you watch my videos on the projects that, you know, when I'm working up loads for other people for that particular cartridge, it's definitely not one that I'm a huge fan of, you know, even though it's basically got a cult following. People love it. And you can basically kill anything in North America with the 30-06. I mean, you just can, right? That just is what it is. So it's been proven. Plenty of dead animals out there to prove it. So, but I'm just not the biggest fan of it unless it is in this type of configuration where you have a wood stock, so it's heavier, which helps to tame the recoil a little bit. You know, when I'm shooting it like the current project where I've got that Ruger American, you know, chambered in 30-06, and it's just a, you know, little synthetic flimsy stock that weighs next to nothing. It gets old trying to work up loads for that. It's not really a fun rifle to take out to the range and just shoot, right? Go, you know, on a range day, you're gonna wanna work up a load, a good hunting load, and then you're going to put it in the safe and wait for hunting season, right? And then you're going to take it out, you're going to shoot it once or twice, make sure it's still zeroed, and then you're going to go hit the deer woods, you know, whatever you're hunting, kill whatever you're hunting, and then you're done. So, but I'm more of a fan of just going to the range and just shooting, right? That's kind of what I enjoy doing. And so 30-06 is just not really high on my list of cartridges to go and do that with. But I came across this, my buddy Ace, he's a good friend of mine, and he was looking at getting rid of this. So so I picked it up from him, and this is kind of a unique setup because this barrel and action, they've got quite a bit of age to them. And when I say that, I mean they were made around 1918. Okay, so about 104, 105 year window there that we're talking about. And the reason for that is because that's what this thing started off as, the M1917. Okay, so it's been modified since then. Obviously it has an aftermarket stock on it, which I have no idea what that stock is. I don't know what it came off of, no clue. But it feels great. It's got a decent amount of weight to it. Feels pretty solid, so I'm a fan of that. The trigger, you know, I'm pretty sure it's been worked at some point in time in its life because it's really nice. It's pretty sharp. I like that. The trigger on it, you know, it's a great setup. And then just overall, it's been reblued and that type of thing. It's been well maintained over the course of its life, but it started off as this guy, the M1917. So you can already tell, you know, the stock is different. Obviously, that rear sight, it's got like this super beefy, you know, rear sight that came on it back when these things were manufactured for World War I. And that has since been chopped off. There's actually, you can't really see because of how the scope, the lighting and everything, but there is a little bit of a darker spot right up here where you can tell that's been removed. And so, yeah, so that it now kind of serves as a hunting rifle. And he said he's shot great, you know, groups with it and all that. And so we're just gonna load it up, see what we can do with it. I've got some Starline brass we're gonna be using for it. But I just wanted to kind of introduce this rifle, this project. It's got a Winchester scope on it, so it's not the clear, you know, clearest, most crisp glass in the world. I'm sure it's a cheaper scope. It's illuminated reticle. It's not bad by any means, definitely good enough for hunting, but I may put something else on there Not sure what, haven't really decided yet, but I think maybe like a Leupold or something like that with a 1-inch tube. I think that would go great with this setup. And so if you're interested in the M1970, I had to do some research because my buddy Ace, he was like, hey, I'm selling a 30-06. It's an Eddie Stone. And I was like, Eddie Stone? What in the world's an Eddie Stone? I had never heard of an Eddie Stone rifle before. And if you are like me and you have never heard of an Eddie Stone rifle, this is written by, you can see that right there, Dick Culver. I had to do some research on this thing because, again, no idea what an Eddie Stone rifle was. But this kind of goes into detail about, he's written this paper, and it's probably 15 pages long, and he goes into in detail about what the M1917 is, what it started off as, what it's based on, and then kind of the dimensions right here, the weights and all that stuff. So it's got a 1 in 10 twist, so that'll be good. We're going to be shooting probably the 165 grain Speer Grand Slams. I think I've settled on starting with that one first, just because I have a few boxes of them. So we'll start with that. But Eddie Stone, let me see if I can find it, because he mentions it. Yeah, I had to do some research on, Eddie Stone itself, and it was basically a firearms manufacturer way back in the day. And roughly, I think it depends on what source you go with and all the information that you pull on this thing, but roughly, I think it's like 2.5 million of these things of that were produced for World War I. So you're talking in between 1917 and 1918 is when these things were manufactured. Eddie Stone was a major firearms manufacturer back in the day. I read somewhere online that at that time period when it was producing these rifles, that it was the largest firearms manufacturer. I thought it said in the world in terms of its overall footprint, right? The amount of real estate that it was taking up. So, very large manufacturer. But here, this guy kind of broke down there were 3 companies that were making this rifle: Winchester, Remington, Eddie Stone. And I'm not 100% sure if like Eddie Stone was an offshoot or a subsidiary of like Remington or something like that. If somebody's more knowledgeable on this, please comment below and correct anything that I'm saying incorrectly. But so this is just pretty neat. It's a general approximation of the serial numbers and their production timeline. It's not going to be exact, but it gives you a rough idea. And this particular copy, the serial number's like 939 something, right? So it's on up there in terms of manufacturer. You're talking about, somewhere in the August, September time frame of 1918, right? So approximately. So yeah, so it's got some age to it. So we're definitely going to be careful. We're not going to, load up hot loads on this thing and see how hard we can push it. We're not doing any of that mess. I'm not trying to blow this thing up and destroy my face. So yeah, and so you can see the production totals in the end. Let's see. Yeah, okay, here you go. So total rifle production, you're talking, let's see, total rifle production. You've got these different sources, right? That's what this guy's pulling this information from. So anywhere, because not everybody can agree, but anywhere from 2.2 up to 2.5 million copies of this rifle were produced, and Eddie Stone produced roughly half. You see that serial number there. They continued production on into 1919, and they ended at around 1.3, something like that. So they produced roughly half of the copies of this rifle that were made, which is just very neat. Again, I had never heard of an Eddystone rifle, didn't know who they were. So I find that, it's really neat, really unique, even though they produced a crap ton of them. But yeah, so that's the rifle. As some folks were trying to guess, what was the cartridge and all that stuff. So that's what it is. It's got a lot of age to it. But one of the things I did read, I kind of read some conflicting reports on a forum thread that I came across. It was talking about you have to be careful with these if they had gone through kind of like a rebarreling process, because apparently that was an issue back in the day where if it was rebarreled, more than likely it was overstressed, and so you have to be careful with the action because it could have had some degradation issues based on over torquing of the new barrel and all this other stuff. So I read that, and then I'm sitting over here going, well, holy smokes, I don't even know if I really want to shoot this thing, even though my buddy Ace, he shot it and he's had no issues with it. He shot hand loads through it, no issues. But I read it was either another forum thread or just more research, information about the rifle itself, that this action was supposedly like the strongest action of the day. Okay, is the way they were phrasing it, and that Magnum cartridges were designed off of this action. So Magnum cartridges were designed around using this particular action because of how beefy it was, how robust it was, strong, and all that. So you kind of got both of those sides of the fence out there. You just, it is what it is. When you're shooting a rifle that's over 100 years old, it's just kind of some of the stuff you deal with. So. But that's it. That's kind of the rifle, the load. Again, this is the Speer 165 Grand Slam. That's what we're going to go with. And then I've got Ramshot Hunter, so that's their highest velocity powder. We can definitely load down here at the starting charge, and work our way up. Probably not much at all if we want to go that route. I've also got Accurate 4350. I've got H4831 shortcut. Let's see what else. Of course, I've got H4350. I've got some H380. I think I've got some Varget, maybe IMR 4831. Of course, I got IMR 4064. So I've got several powders, that we can play around with and try to work on good loads for this thing. I would love to get a really good hunting load worked up for this and then take it out hunting this upcoming season. So I think it's going to be fun. Again, intro video. So for those of you that were wondering what in the world this thing was that I posted a picture of, that's it, M1917. If you know anything about that rifle, if you're one of those people that love these historical firearms, please comment below and correct anything that I said or misspoke on or anything like that. So that's it. Y'all stay tuned for some 30-06 load development. We'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a good one.